We always are driven to thinking what if and into infinity and into eternal kinds of structures. So what happens instantly, when, at least when I look at the sky or when most people do, is I think all our time-space frameworks expand, and therefore the human imagination expands, taking us into a bigger, deeper set of poetic or artistic ideas. So anytime we cast ourselves upward, we expand ourselves and we bring that expansion back to our life on Earth.
One of the key things about this expedition will be the fact that with 3D HD video coming back, people will be able to experience the lunar frontier and see it with the same clarity as an Apollo astronaut. This is revolutionary. In no previous frontier have people staying at home been able to actually, teleport their senses to the frontier and experience it with that fidelity.
So to me, the critical move is putting this 3D perception on the moon, and suddenly for the first time we're going to see space in three-dimensional terms, and that's going to change the whole cognition of space, I think, because our whole brain is keyed to, and our whole consciousness is keyed to how we define space and how we see spatially. So as soon as you get a spatialized environment, you're engaging a much bigger part of the whole framework of the human mind.
He's approaching this with enormous care and conscientiousness, and also he's very expansive, of course, in his thinking about the whole universe and its meaning and how human beings can understand it and grapple with the biggest concepts that we have to deal with, life and death, and how we treat each other and what things mean.
I think that art is a part of life, and an exploration project shouldn't be any different. This project, this expedition, will be very significant, and there needs to be art with it to explore what it means.
There's a handful of people in the whole universe that have done work that is space-related, or how can I put it, where space or outer space is part and parcel to the artistic expression. Lowry is one of those people, and has been for many years.
Well, I've done space-related art for about 45 years, and there are many projects. The most perhaps notorious or famous is called the Boundless Cubic Lunar Aperture, which was the first non-scientific payload, the first official work of art taken into outer space by NASA in 1989. I was told by NASA that that was one of the arguments why they chose the work, because it actually had to go into space to achieve its meaning. First of all, the shuttle leaves the Earth much faster than you see on TV. It's just literally like an arrow shooting into outer space. It goes so fast, it ascends so fast. The whole shuttle rides on a bubble of golden light, which can't render in video. So there's this shimmering golden ball beneath the shuttle, and it doesn't even feel like a machine. It feels like some being, some angelic being, just whoosh, I'm out of here, It's a very mystical thing. And then suddenly these doorways open that, have been thresholds that were really shut to your consciousness, and suddenly it opens and you see it. The center of the cube is a little cube, which is a vacuum chamber surrounded by holograms of nothing. And that hovers or floats in the outer cube, which is half filled with water, which was the waters gathered all over the world from the big rivers. So the waters contain every element. So everything from hydrogen to plutonium. So here's a cube that is an everything, nothing, a hypercube, flying free above the world, orbiting 93 times to sort of get everything up and out for a while, and then coming back. When did it?
I think in his very being, his every fiber of his being, he's kind of a peace-loving, loving person. He cares very deeply about people, other people, and their well-being. And almost everything he does is sort of oriented toward expanding that and inviting everyone to participate in that kind of idea.
So there's a real reason why we reach out, because as we reach out, we reach in. And I think this push out is going to have big consequences back in terms of how we redefine ourselves on Earth.
My hope is that as we do this mission, people will see that they can take part. And they'll see that space exploration is something that they can participate in. And I hope that our mission can be another cultural turning point in that we show that it's time for us to rouse ourselves and go back out into the solar system.
There were several things about the MoonArk project that is very distinct. Number one is that any kind of weight, in other words, payload weight, is extremely expensive to send up privately. So therefore, we were forced immediately into thinking very small, very light, and thinking electromagnetically, so that we're basically broadcasting back and forth between the surface of the moon and the Earth. Or on the other hand, we could think about things that we would ask the rover to do or the lander to be, where we're simply modifying or extending the mission of each in some way with our art's presence. The other thing is that the surface of the moon is extremely enduring. There's no atmosphere. Things will last longer on the surface of the moon than they can on Earth. Just thinking about art in a billion-year time frame changes everything we think about art. The structure of the MoonArk, or what we call the MoonArk reliquary, is to be a gift to the moon that embodies all of life, including death, from the Earth to the moon. And so what we're doing with the MoonArk is we are sampling all of the world's life, including many, many ashes of the dead, and we're taking them all in an integrated form on the lander to the surface of the moon. So in a way, the moon lander becomes a ark, and on the other hand, it becomes a museum in which the ark exists once it lands on the moon. So it's the whole notion of making a true museum, in other words, a place of the muses, all the arts on the moon.
For most of us, space travel, outer space, is just an idea. It's not something we'll ever really probably have a direct experience of. We can watch it on TV, the launches, we can hear people talk about it. So I think what appeals to me about this is that if I will have some opportunity to feel like I'm there, or like I'm influencing it, or that I'm having a direct experience, that's pretty amazing. And that I think this project offers that possibility for the general public to actually engage. That's pretty dramatic.
Space is almost the definition of our future. When you see those Apollo shots, you think, that's the future, even though it happened 40 years ago. It's the great unexplored. It's the only really great vast expanse that humanity has left before it. I think everyone wonders, what's out there? What could we learn? What could we build there? And I think humanity needs a frontier. And I think the spirit of the global civilization will be lifted when people recognize, hey, there is a frontier. We do have a place to expand and to learn new things.
Part of whatever it is we are, we have this big yearning to explore, to reach out, go around the corners always, to go row around the corners, see what's there. Climb over the mountain, see what's there. There are a lot of us that are lunatics in the best sense. We are loony. We love the moon, and the moon is very effective on us. A lot of people are very deeply affected by the moon. The moon lifts the tides every day and lifts the crust of the Earth up and down twice a day. And all of that churning and moving is the very basis of life on the planet. So the moon is the great stirrer of life. It is both that which originates, and in most mythologies in the world, it's that which receives life at the end of life. It is the well of souls, and it's also where souls go when they die. it's also probably one of the most profound objects in all of our thinking, mythology, and imagining on the surface of the Earth.